Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with Ramadan living with bipolar disorder. So in this video, I'm not going to be talking about how to read Quran every day, how to wake up earlier for suhoor, how to pray tahajjud, because since being diagnosed with bipolar disorder 5 years ago, I often find it very difficult to pray. I don't fast, and even making dua is sometimes impossible for me due to my mental illness, medication, and just general cognitive impairment. This has been incredibly difficult for me because I, like all Muslims, love Ramadan. I look forward to it all year, and I miss being able to fast and being able to pray and being able to make dua regularly. And I often feel really bad about not being able to do these basic obligations. I was worried even about making this video because I didn't want it to seem as though I'm saying it's permissible to not do these things, that I am trying to say that, these obligations are not important. But I still decided to make it because I don't think enough people talk about how difficult it is to struggle with a severe mental illness and then the guilt and shame that comes on top of that when you're not able to meet your obligations, especially in Ramadan when it's such a sacred month and you are so deeply connected to it, you feel like you're failing by not being able to observe it correctly. So I wanted to make this video after all because nobody talks about this topic. I have never heard scholars talk about living with a severe mental illness and how that can impact your ability to worship. Oftentimes, when they talk about mental illness, they talk about still maintaining your daily prayers, and maybe there's an excuse for fasting there. But oftentimes, it's talked about in a binary of either being insane and the rulings for when you're insane, and then being sane and the rulings for when someone is sane. But for those of us with mental illness, rarely are we just completely one or the other. Most of the time, we're living in between and fluctuating between various states of sanity and insanity. I know for myself, especially in the last couple of months, that can change just in a few hours, and that really limits my ability to do things consistently and often to do things at all. My Ramadan looks a lot different now than it did 5 years ago. In the past, I was really active during Ramadan. I would create a list of all the things I wanted to do for all 30 days, and it would include my morning adhkar, my evening adhkar, making dua, praying sunnah, giving donations, praying tarawih, and I would just check these off every single day and really push myself to do as much as I could during these sacred days. Now things are way different, but not necessarily worse. I feel like in the past, I relied heavily on my actions and my ability to do acts of worship in order to bring me closer to Allah. Now it's like Allah has forced me to stop doing all those things and instead has taught me the much harder lesson of patience and letting go of self reliance and being completely reliant on Allah. The last couple of years, I've been so ill that I couldn't even make dua. I probably won't be able to fast again. Prayer is something I struggle with. When I'm well, I can sometimes do it. When I'm unwell, I can't even remember the steps or how to perform it. Because of the severity of my mental illness and how vulnerable it has made me, and how I have been able to do so little because of it, I have just had to rely on Allah completely. I used to rely on myself for basic things, but now even that I can't function and I can't do those things. And that to me has been the much harder lesson of submission, of surrendering, of letting go, and just being patient with being sick and waiting for episodes to end and knowing that this is going to be the challenge of the rest of my life. And I know that I never could have learned this lesson without my illness. Without having experienced the extremes of bipolar disorder, I don't think I ever would have developed such a sense of trust in Allah. And I listened to this beautiful khutbah the other day where the Imam was saying that it's not your job to figure out the way. It's not your job to figure out the way of how to get your acts of worship back, of how to find your way to Allah. That's Allah's job. If you're seeking God, if you're seeking Allah, Allah will bring you to Him in the way that is best for you, even if you feel like it's not conventional, even if you feel like you are not able to do the things you want to do. Like I said a few years ago, I couldn't even make dua, and now I can. And I feel like that is such an amazing, amazing gift that I might not have even recognized before had I not experienced so many difficulties with my brain. You might be in this hard place right now, and I want you to know that the inability to worship does not mean you are in disbelief. It's not a sign that Allah is punishing you. Everything that is happening to you is from Allah, and Allah understands your situation better than you do, understands what you need to develop better than you do, and Allah understands your mental illness better than you do, and better than any doctor in the world. He is putting on you a great struggle that requires so much patience, but the reward for patience is without measure. So, this Ramadan, please remember that your pain, your struggle, your grief, you are not alone in that. I am going through that too. Just because your brain isn't working doesn't mean that your heart isn't on the right path. This is the month of mercy, of compassion, so be compassionate to yourself and remember that Allah judges an action by its intention. I'm going to leave some resources below that I found really helpful on my path to understanding my own mental illness and my relationship with Islam. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you everyone for commenting. I love hearing from you. It makes me feel like my videos are helping people. I'm sorry if I don't get back to your comments right away. I am struggling a lot right now. But thank you for watching, and Ramadan Mubarak. I wish you a blessed month full of forgiveness and mercy and surrounded by your loved ones and community.